Pillar number 4, crafting compelling narratives using probably one of the most underutilized forms of communication online, and that is email marketing. Now, we've probably heard a number of times WhatsApp is where the new communication platform is, or maybe Instagram DMs, or even Messenger. However, as I said, one of the most underutilized tools of communication online is probably also one of the most oldest. Now, the beauty and the brilliance of email marketing is if you can get this system right, if you can have automation set up specifically when it's needed, you can not only increase your conversion rate when it comes to generating leads and actually getting them across the line, but using some of the strategies that we'll speak about and speak into will further not only just amplify what you're doing online, specifically when it comes to advertising, but in terms of telling your story and telling the narrative as to why the business began and what the business stands for. All this information can be, number one, automated, and also can be used on a volume scale campaign to allow you to, again, free up your time, but also still communicate quite effectively. And again, that's utilizing the email function. Now, we also have clients who have actually come back to us and said, well, that email marketing campaign, although the individual that we targeted or that was in the database was the one that we wanted to get in front of, for whatever reason, they necessarily weren't at the right time in terms of the buying journey. They weren't necessarily there. However, because they forwarded that across to someone that they know, and because email is very, it's very common and very utilized in today's society, but something as simple as just forwarding it across has allowed that individual to get another lead into our database and then get onto a call and get into a booked appointment. So whilst again it is sort of looked, not necessarily frowned upon, but people maybe don't give it as much respect as it should, again, email marketing is definitely one of the biggest players when it comes to converting and further generating interest and buy-in, at least on the company and how it operates. So without getting into too much information around that, what I'm going to do here is just go through how these emails are set up from a pre, during, and post-campaign configuration. Now, again, we're going to focus in on specifically around the lead generation and nurturing aspect of it. But if you utilize this strategy, and it doesn't have to be a home improvement company, by the way, it could be any business out there. If you leverage just this simplistic strategy on how you further nurture pre, during, and post, I think everything is utilized and set up to maximize at least this form of communication. So first things first, we're going to look at the pre-appointment campaign, building anticipation and trust. Now the objective here is to establish a connection with the lead that has just come through before the meeting, setting a stage for fruitful relationship. I remember a number of times as to, as soon as I've booked in a call or booked in an appointment, when an email is shot off and that email thanks me for coming through, but then also gives me a little bit more context on what the business is about, their values, their morals, and what they stand for and what they do, that allows me to go, there's a little bit more buy-in from myself into this company. And, I've invested in a number of online courses, a number of coaches out there. And, the ones who actually resonate with me most allows them to tell their story prior to even catching up with the meeting or the sales call. So because I've been able to get buy-in initially, it builds that trust and credibility that I've chosen the right person to engage with. So once we've been able to do that email sequence that we have, again, welcome email, further content to educate the individual, testimonials and case studies to build that trust and credibility, and lastly, just confirming the pre-appointment. Hey, we're going to catch up with you on whatever date it may be, via a Zoom call or an on-site appointments. Here is the pertinent information. Now, the strategy behind this is, well, I guess it's all good and well to shoot off these emails. There needs to be a time and place as to what type of emails that you are sending off and how that can be leveraged down the track. And what I mean by that is, whilst it is scheduling an appointment, having this email sequence along with the information that goes about the about the company and about, what you've done for their customers, that there's the interesting aspect of it, because again, that does a lot of the legwork well before you get out there. And if you're able to position yourself or position the individual as an authority or as an expert and edify them and put them on, I guess, somewhat of a pedestal, already, the email has done its work and it's done its job. Now that there is pre-appointment campaigns. Now post-appointment, once you've been able to go on site or once they've been able to confirm and go through the on-site appointments or a Zoom call, generally after it, you have a follow-up email which thanks the client for coming through and recaps on the key points and discussions and what the next steps are, more importantly. Then it also breaks down the service, the detail around, the process, the timelines, the benefits of your service. Again, in this instance, we're using a home improvement company as sort of like the baseline here, but it could also be applied to anything that you offer from a business perspective. And last but not least, you have a special offer. In that special offer, what is it that's going to get that individual to take that next step or make that commitment? And again, that's where you in a post-appointment campaign, that's where you start to issue that out there. Now, the strategy behind this is to trigger emails based on the appointment date and ensuring timely follow-ups. Because when you customize the content to reflect the specific decisions within the lead, or with the lead, then you will start to realize that there is a hell of a lot more work done, nurtured, and potentially conversions increase simply because of these email follow-ups. Now, again, all of this is most often than not automated, and with some of the personalization, that can also be done through variable fields or variable custom fields. Perfect. All right, now going on to the ongoing campaign nurturing. So we've gone through pre, we've done post. Now, as you continue to nurture long-term relationships, this is phenomenal because, we've had clients who have come in maybe 6-12 months ago, but because they've been on a schedule of emails that are going out, as well as seeing our social media posts, whether it be from an ad or from organic traffic, that's entire process there. That lead when they first came in, although let's say, for example, it costs $150 for them to come through, the continuous touch points, which is free using emails and as well social media, reduces that actual cost per conversion simply because the further you stay in front of that individual, the less it costs. And eventually when they do come through and convert, you'll also realize that while it did cost $150 for them to come through, let's say, for example, that the product is $750 a month on what we provide. Now, that's one of our old pricing models. But again, to pay $150 for someone to convert and come through, albeit 12 months ago, there is a return on investment on that ad spend from back then. So again, because you've been able to set up systems and because those systems are leveraging the email campaign or email aspect of it, you will see that there really pays dividends when it comes to, again, further capitalizing and maximizing on the nurturing aspect of these leads. So going back into here, what we're looking at is, these emails, they could have been newsletter updates. For me, when I personally send out these emails, they're actual, on a consistent basis, just life lessons and life hacks, but also tying in, not just about my personal life, but also about some of the marketing aspects and things that would benefit them. So whilst I am sharing a bit more of my story, they are also getting value in terms of what is best for them during this current cycle, wherever it may be. It could be in 2024 that you're watching this, or 2026. Hopefully this has changed, but you get my point. Whatever is relevant now and whatever I'm sharing, hopefully there's a little bit more buy-in from them because it's not only value-based, but also authentic too. Seasonal promotion. So, we've got a client who sends off an email, I think once every 3 months, just about what they have in terms of products and how these products based on seasons can actually help them. And then the referral requests. Well, a lot of customers of ours, even myself included, initially was very, I wouldn't say scared, but just very standoffish when it comes to asking for the referrals. The more you automate this, the less you actually have to touch in terms of say for example, you have an ongoing long-term nurturing campaign. Every, let's just say, 6th email in that automation is asking for a referral. So again, the things is, if that individual isn't necessarily looking to perhaps, or doesn't have a bathroom renovation, it's not within their plans, so they don't even have one. But if they have heard of someone within their community or network looking for that, they can easily forward off that email and then get that individual in touch with that company or yourself. So again, a lot of this information here can be recycled and reused down the track. An email that was sent to me 6 months ago, I can forward that across to someone else and say, hey, these guys are looking at helping out businesses with X. Great, awesome. Let's just get you in front of them. And that's, again, because of an email 6 months ago that you've been able to forward. There is a lot of value off the back of that. Perfect. All right, so let's have a look at the strategy here. Now, when you schedule these out, let's not do it every 30 minutes or every day or every 2 days, but maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, bi-weekly. Having an email go out there. Actually, I wouldn't say bi-weekly. I'd at least say once a week. Staying top of mind with your database. Now, you can also segment them as well. So you can have them, or we can have these email automations targeted based on different groups or different segments. So there could be new leads that have come in, but they haven't engaged. There could be ongoing projects that's going currently live. That information could be fed into them, i.e., special offer of if you're having a current renovation done at the moment and it's a 3-month process. If you can further educate them about some of the tools that you not tools, but probably some of the educational content around why you do certain things for a bathroom renovation. Say, for example, it's a kitchen renovation that's happening. If you can pique their interest and create conversation about renovating the bathroom. Initially, it was a kitchen renovation, but if they've got an idea that, hey, like the information you've given me over the last couple of weeks about bathroom renovations, I actually want to get my bathroom renovated now. Again, it's because you've been able to not only educate the individual, but you also set yourself up as an authority in this space. So these communications, although may seem either outdated or somewhat useless, no. If you can continue staying front of mind, staying top of mind, and also educating your customer for further potential work down the track, it's a no-brainer. And then last but not least, you've got the integration with personalized correspondence. So I spoke about this earlier. When you shoot off these email automations, you have the ability to address them. So again, hi Robin, or hi Mary, or hi Lisa, like that individual. And I'm sure you've received an email, a marketing email that's personalizing it to you. Now you can even go as granular as saying, well, you can have, let's just say a new lead, or like the information specific to what a new lead would be looking for. That segment can have a specifically personalized email campaign set to them. As say, for example, someone who's had their job recently done over the last, say, 1 to 3 months, that email segment or that automation for that campaign can really push on not only asking for referrals, but maybe you haven't got a testimonial yet, that they're asked for a testimonial too. But thirdly, you can also have a lot more of maybe their information, not information, but more of their, if we're planning for the future, a lot more of the brightness of the future when it comes to, hey, you've just had your renovation done. Have a look at some of our special offers here. Have a look at what we've been able to do for one of our other clients with their pool. I mean, the automation is there, the system is there. It's been able to be creative enough to then go, okay, what would that customer of mine, or what would that individual, put myself in that perspective, what would I want after I've actually had my renovation done? After I've engaged with your business, after I've used your product or service? What is it that I'd love to hear once I've been able to go through it? And the key thing here is to either get that referral or get further work off the back of these automations. All right, now how do we find these specialists? Now, remote email marketing specialists are relatively found on, again, paid, when you spoke about the paid ad specialists, when you spoke about the triager or the appointment setter, again, it's on those similar platforms. So when you do find them, you can find them on, and I think I've jumped ahead, but again, looking at where we find them is, again, on those platforms. One thing I haven't spoken about is actually Facebook groups. Now, we found our paid ad specialist. His name's Manny, a beautiful person. He's based over in India, but he's very, very smart when it comes to analytics, and he knows the platform inside out. I think he's been using it for 6 years, and I think he's only 24. So you can imagine someone so young, someone so fresh, who's been able to accumulate so much experience in those 6 years, has really set those foundations for, providing services to our clients, and exceptional services, may I add. So, whilst there are platforms out there, again, one thing that came to mind was, leveraging Facebook and those Facebook groups. But going back to what we have in front of us here, is what are some of the key qualities to look for when it comes to an expert around email marketing? Now, these guys need to have a proven record on creating and managing successful email campaigns relative to your industry. Now, again, we speak about home improvement here, but there are other businesses out there that, say, for example, you have an e-commerce product and we have an email marketing specialist specifically honed in on being able to convert via email this particular product or an e-commerce product. That's what you want to look for, someone who's proficient in your niche. Then we need to make sure that they actually understand the marketing automation tools. So CRM systems that actually integrate, email marketing platforms. But in this instance, MailChimp, I'm sure you've heard of, Consistent Contact, HubSpot. You also have ActiveCampaign. You have your Go High Level. They also need to have a copywriting and designer background. So it's all good and well to have copywriting, but they need to be creative. So most of the emails that we shoot off, our strategy is to not overcomplicate it, not make it look too fancy. The goal here is to make it as if it was sent from myself. Now, most often than not, that comes with no images, no photos. It's just like an email saying, hi Mary, and then you just go into the copy. But yes, you can have photos and links as well. And most often not, all of them have call to action at the back end of it. It's just how creative are you when it comes to not only having the headline quite intriguing to get them into reading the email, but then also what is the hook at the start. So yeah, there's a lot to analyze, and I think there's a lot to pick up on. But you'll be able to really identify that when you're speaking to someone who actually understands email marketing. Next, they need to have an analytical mindset. They need to understand the campaign performance and make these adjustments and changes and optimizations when necessary. Now, it's all good and well to start off with a campaign, whether it be, let's just say, for example, a post job or post renovation that's done. But say, for example, the opt-in rate, or say, for example, the open rate is dropping below industry standards. That individual needs to know, hey, prior to even it dropping, if you can see that there's a consistent downtrend on it, there needs to be changes made in the background. So when it does hit that threshold, you quickly throw in the new campaign and then just test and iterate from there. And then last but not least, they need to understand the customer segmentation. So while it's all good and well to, again, put out these campaigns, we need to understand where that customer is in that buying journey. Are they in the new leads aspect of it? Are they currently undergoing some projects with you? Or have they finished projects? And what is the way to recapitalize on them again? So again, they need to understand that. Actually, here it is, the recruitment strategies, where to find them. Again, freelance marketplace, remote work websites, online platforms. But again, just off the top of my head, Facebook groups, they aren't in here. And when it comes to the hiring process then, what we have to look at is the detailed job description. What is it that we're going to put out there to go, hey, you want to work with us? You also need to make sure that it is congruent with how the business is as well. So I think a lot of times if there's incongruence, a lot of people can see that. They can probably not necessarily explain it, but they could feel that, hey, it looks phenomenal here, but the messaging from the email just doesn't resonate, or it's not congruent. So trying to make that aligned as best as possible is key. Now, if we have a look at these skills, consider, you can actually assess them by putting together a simple scenario. This is what we have. This is what we want to be able to achieve. Now I need you to put together a maybe 5-part series of emails. Let me know how this would work. And just by doing something like that and engaging with them from a personable level, seeing if it actually resonates. If they're close, then you would be able to sort of make some tweaks and amendments. But if they're completely far, then you know that, hey, okay, you may not be best suited for us. We wish you all the best, and then look for the next person. And, during the interview, when you do conduct it, just obviously identify, have a look, how are they presenting, what is some of the ideas, make sure you have questions in place about what they would do for specific scenarios, and then also have fun with it. Because I think whilst it's all good and well to be serious about who you're bringing on board, if they have a bit of humor and if they resonate with what you stand for and how you are, that goes a very long way on getting buy-in. What I always say to my team as well is that you could be the smartest person, but if you don't have company culture, or if you don't buy into the company culture, and you put people off, you're gone. I don't care how smart you are, I don't care how brilliant you are. If you don't buy into what we do and looking after and being respectful to not only our clients but our team individually, collectively, you're not a suit for us. And then when it comes to onboarding and integration, now we need to have some, obviously, orientation and training, but we also need to make sure that we're communicating and collaborating with them on a daily basis. Now, initially at the start, as you buy in, you need to have SOPs, you need to have and make sure that they buy into the company culture, understanding exactly how you operate online as well, in terms of this is what our brand is, this is our messaging, and it needs to relay successfully into emails. And then last but not least, they obviously need to have access to the resources. So whether it be the CRM tools, the marketing material, the email platform, that you're working off, they need to have access to all of that. But upon that, that's pretty much it. Now, again, just to conclude, the automated email campaigns, although it could seem somewhat outdated, it definitely isn't. And when it comes to converting and having actually a long-term nurturing process, if your cost per lead is X and you're continuously staying in front of them, literally for free, I mean, not for free, but at a very, very, very small amounts, I don't know how much an email costs, 0.0001 cents, then, continuously staying front and center, continuously engaging with them, and continuously making sure that, hey, which, by the way, I haven't even spoken about, once they do engage with it, they should be able to, either forward that across to someone in sales to further that individual conversation, or if those emails are continuously getting opened, and if those emails as well are being, the links are being clicked on, then they could fall into a different pipeline, which then is, because they've been able to be tracked, those link clicks and how many times they open, they could jump onto a call with one of the guys and get in front of them quite quick. So the emphasis of this pillar here is to understand how underutilized email is, but also if you use the right strategy, it could be somewhat very, very successful. So yeah, that there is pretty much it. That's pillar number 4, and that is, let me go back to the start. Crafting compelling narratives, leveraging the communication of email marketing.